Hey, welcome to the Lambeth Made podcast. I'm your host, Karima, and today I'm here with...
Hi, I'm Sasha.
And today we're interviewing Elena.
I'm Elena. Hi, nice to meet you.
Sorry, my bad.
That's okay.
So hi, Elena. Can you please tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes, sure. So my name is Elena, and I founded a non-for-profit community interest company called Craft Forward, which is a community interest company based in Lambeth, where we do free craft workshops for different social causes. So our main initiative is called Blankets for London, formerly Blankets for Lambeth, because we're based in Lambeth and we started here, where we basically teach people how to knit, and we then assemble blankets to donate to people experiencing homelessness across the city. Okay. Yeah.
What are creatively, what's the difference between like Italy and the UK, and have they inspired your work in any way?
That's a great question, actually. So I want to start by saying that I guess Italy is seen as this place where there's loads of art, right? And loads of history. And it's true, there's loads of both of these things. But I guess that art in Italy is very much still rooted in old sort of modern art, traditional art, So I guess the reason why I moved to the UK, to England in the first place when I was 18 was because I wanted to study contemporary art and to study art in a more sort of conceptual way rather than technical. Well, in Italy you have like traditional academia and you learn a lot of skills, which is great, but it wasn't exactly what I was interested in. I think that now, though, in 2023, it's changing in Italy. It's changing in Rome, and I think there's a lot more collectives of younger artists, I guess, doing different things, doing new things. I still think that a big difference that I see, I consider myself a socially engaged artist, mostly because a lot of my art really is facilitation, is teaching, it's talking and making with other people. And I feel like in London, in the UK in general, participatory art is a lot more rooted in real communities and in actual rich exchanges with people, while in Italy it's still very much theoretical. I'm the artist, I do the thing, I have the skill, you listen to me. Right, I don't know if that answers your questions. I hope it does.
Okay, so you think like it's better to collaborate than like have the main person and then them like be like, you do this, you do that. You think it's much better? I
think so. It's certainly for my for the vision I have of art, I think that art is a great tool for collaboration, is a great tool for building connections. I don't, a lot of people say like art's for art's sake and all that. I think that over the years, the decades, the centuries, really, we've had enough of that. I think that I think that art needs to be used for building connections, building community, building knowledge and exchange, and making everyone richer, not like one guy. Okay.
So previously you said that you have like an initiative called Blankets for London, and that's a project that you do that specializes in helping people that are homeless. So what drove you to specifically focus on homeless people?
Yeah, that's a great question. I started Blankets for Lambeth, it was at the time, in 2020, when I was home like everyone else. And I was knitting a lot, and it was during like peak COVID times. And you probably remember this, but a lot of homeless shelters were closed due to COVID and for fear of increased cases. And there was a bigger charity in Italy actually called Sheep Italia that started to do a similar sort of project helping homeless people across Italy. And I thought, I'm here at home, I'm knitting all the time. I might as well put myself to use for a cause that I think at this point is extremely crucial to address. Essentially what I wanted to do was to give back also to, I'm not originally from Lambeth, but Lambeth is the borough that has adopted me since I came to London, and it's where I've lived since I moved to London, and I love it. It's where I work, it's where I live. It's where I studied even for a lot of the time because we were from home, weren't we? And I wanted to use my skills to help someone that was in a more vulnerable position than me at the time.
And I read that your grandma is who taught you how to knit. So would you say that is that what helps you, like, inspired you? What's that I'm trying to say? Your grandma is basically behind why you started your business in a sense. So is she like your driving force that keeps you going, I guess?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Both my grandmas used to knit, but one of them especially is I used to live with her during the very first lockdown, and I was there with her at home, and she taught me how to knit. And she had been knitting for ages, and then she stopped after a while. She never considered herself a particularly artistic or crafty person. She was knitting out of, I guess, necessity or hobby, or to make something for like her children and then her grandchildren, and then over COVID she taught me how to knit.
That art is so broad, and there's so many ways you can use like certain art forms to create something. So do you think that also would invoke like social issues or like things that are current? Like, do you think that inspires your work?
I definitely think so. I think it's difficult to mix like art and activism in a way, and I would be very careful about mixing those two together. I think what's very important for me is to empower other people to understand that small actions and small things they do can have a larger impact. And I think that arts and crafts can help in that sense. Arts and crafts that are accessible and that are simple and easy, which is not something bad. And I feel like now there's a lot of conceptions about things need to be like complicated and obscure in order to be good. They don't. And I think that like simplicity and maybe even like traditional ways of working with materials and with your hands is useful to help people that wouldn't necessarily consider themselves artists or artistic in a way. And I guess that to answer your question, current social issues do inspire me, and I do try and see how my skills and what I do can help, definitely. I think what's important is to find a way where you can actually help and not performatively help. And I feel like, my skills are skills as a crafter, as an educator, as a facilitator, and I know that I can help in that sense by working with other people. But I also know my limits, and I think that's important whenever you want to work with anything that is socially engaged.
Definitely. But you said there's other like social issues that you care for. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, sure. Let me give you an example of something that is going to happen very soon and I'm very excited about. So we collaborate with different social enterprises, CICs and charities that work with different beneficiary or with different people in different communities. One thing that we're going to be doing soon is a ceramic workshop. And we will be painting ceramic plates with a group of people, and that those plates will be donated to another CIC based in Lambeth, actually, called the GMAS Community Kitchen, which is a CIC that organizes community dinners with local asylum seekers to help with integration and to help with, providing social setting where they can come together with members of the community and just have a nice meal and have some fun. And it's the first sort of ceramic workshop that we're doing with Craft Forward. I'm very excited because I have a long training as a ceramicist, and I can't wait to do that. So I guess it's this is an example of another social cause that I'm trying to help with and address. I guess what's really important and what will always be important for me is also to collaborate with the right organizations that work with communities and people I can help with, or I can do some work for. So for example, with Blankets for London, I've collaborated before with Bricks and Soup Kitchen, which is this amazing charity which helps people that are experiencing homelessness across Lambeth, but not only. And also with Robes Project, which is another charity that organizes shelter and canteens for people experiencing homelessness across Southwark and Lambeth. And then, we'll be collaborating with Jima's Community Kitchen. And before that, I've also collaborated with Community Art Box, which is another CIC that works with asylum seekers based in Lambeth.
Yeah, I mean, those are like some really good causes. Like I've heard about Gina's Kitchen, and I'm actually thinking of volunteering there at some point. Because you've got some causes that you've supported. Are there any other causes you would like to support as well?
Definitely. So I think I would love to support more. I know this can be a bit controversial maybe because it's quite political, but I'm a feminist, and I want to support a lot more feminist causes. We've recently been collaborating with the Feminist Library in Peckham, and I would love to support more causes related to feminism, transfeminism, the LGBTQA+ community, which I am part of. And I think definitely supporting this groups. You don't see a lot of, I guess you do, but you don't see a lot of charities that support maybe more like strictly political causes, but I think what I do is in some way political. So I'd love to support those causes more openly and just more in general. Also, I am very passionate about ecology, the current climate crisis. I'm trying to address that with all of the workshops I already do, really, with using, for example, recycled yarn when I teach my knit clubs. But maybe there's some opportunities to do something that is even more eco, or that addresses the issue more.
What was your experience? You said that growing up as a bisexual kid in Italy was hard. So do you feel like, what was the experience growing up here? Because you also said that Lambeth is kind of like your adopted community. So how would you compare Lambeth and Italy?
Oh, wow. So much different. It's for the best, really. I love Lambeth. I do consider Lambeth, Streatham specifically, because that's where I lived.
Grew up in Streatham.
Yeah.
Little dopey there.
I consider it my home. I consider it my safe space. I think the main difference is that the community I engage with in Lambeth is people that are don't judge, that listen. I work in Craft Forward is based in Brixton International House, and all the people that I've met there and all the organisations I've had the pleasure to work with have always been very receptive to what I have to say, or building conversation and building connections with other people. While I guess in Italy, I lived 18 years in Italy, which is more than how long I've lived, in England. Yeah. And it was different years. I was born in the 90s. It was different, right? It's always been, I've always felt kind of misunderstood, which is very sad to say about your own country of origin, if you know what I mean. And I felt judged. I felt unsafe a lot of the time. Not gonna lie. One example that I always talk about, actually not always, but that I talk about when I compare Italy and London is, I knitted this top, not this one. I also knitted this, by the way.
Wow.
I knitted this top, which is like an altar top kind of thing.
Yeah.
A little bit of belly showing, but not even that much. I wear it in Rome, August, super hot. I was catcalled about 7 times. I wear it in London, no one even turns to look at me. Or they say, oh, that's a nice top. Like, you know what I mean? And but that says something. Yeah. And I know that London isn't perfect. I know that the UK isn't perfect at all. And I mean, we just talked about it. But it's very, very different. I guess, like, the issues that we have in Italy. In Italy, we're like 20 years back compared to London, which is really sad. And as a woman, I don't feel good when I go back. And I love to go back and visit my family, visit my grandma, my brother, you know, but I can see it. It's 2 different worlds.
So what's one, I guess, Lambeth has taught you?
Lambeth has taught me many things. What I want to say is, again, maybe a bit of a cliche thing. It's a word that's been used for ages since COVID, I guess, which is resilience. And I guess no matter, because, you know, again, Lambeth isn't perfect. There's loads of problems, but I guess there's also a lot of proactive reaction to things and a lot of resilience in that sense.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, it's also been the place of opportunity.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Right? And to, like, really understand how to build a community of people for myself as well. Yeah. I guess, you know, Craft Forward was born for a reason, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But selfishly, it's also really helped me a lot because I moved here alone at 18. Yeah. I don't have any family here. I don't have any support system, if you want to call it that way. And through Craft Forward and through what I've been doing, I have built a community for myself as well. And now, you know, that is great. And Lambeth has taught me that is possible.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Thank you. I feel like I'm getting a bit.
Do you ever think that maybe, like, even though I guess even though you go back to Italy, how do you think you can, like, is there any way that you could maybe help Italy come into the 21st century? Because you said it like 20 years back.
Ooh, do you know what? I think so. The thing is, do I want to?
That's a good question.
Right, it's a struggle, isn't it? Because it's like, I've fought so hard in Italy for a lot of things that I didn't have to fight so much for here.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to rest, you know? Although I love Italy, and, like, for now I don't have any plan to move back to Italy. But, you know, my parents will grow old eventually, and, like, maybe I will want to have a family and have my children be in Italy. I don't know about that. But it's just, I know that there are people that are doing the work in Italy. So I guess definitely a way for me would be to support them. Yeah. In any way possible, even with, like, visibility, even with, like, you know, making those struggles more seen in other parts of Europe, of the world. Because when you think of Italy, you think of
fashion.
Yeah, you think of fashion, you think it's pizza, good food, people are nice and have a funny accent, sometimes sexy, but actually there's loads of problems. There's a lot of misogyny, there's a lot of homophobia, racism, classism, and So
can you, like, tell us a bit more about Craft Forward? Because I feel like we're going into different topics, so we haven't really specifically spoke about Craft Forward.
Yes, sure. So Craft Forward as a community interest company, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with what a community interest company is, but it's basically it's in between a charity and a limited company. So it's a limited company that is limited by guarantee in my case. So there's no shares, there's no dividends, and there is no really, like, profit to be, like, shared by the owners. And also it's devoted to a community and to the benefit of a community, which in this case for me is the people that we have workshops with and our beneficiaries that get the results of our workshops in a way. So I established Craft Forward as a CIC in 2021. after having done Blankets for Lambeth in 2020.
Yeah.
And then I started doing in-person workshops when obviously restrictions were lifted in 2021. And we started by collaborating with another Lambeth-based company, CAC actually, called the Brixton Project. And we've been doing the first knit clubs together. And then luckily I got some funding from the National Lottery to carry on doing our knit clubs monthly from our Brixton sort of headquarter. And then I guess, so knitting has been our main sort of craft in a way. But then I've sort of been doing ad hoc workshops with zine making, collage, pottery soon.
Do you feel like maybe like starting a business, is there anything you've learned? Has it made you stronger? Because I feel like that process requires a lot of like patience and determination, resilience and stuff like that.
100% has made me stronger. I guess like I never knew I wanted to open my own thing, my own business. Like no one in my family is like an entrepreneur or anything like that. And I don't, it's still struggle with considering myself an entrepreneur, although I am. I guess the thing that I've learned from starting Craft Forward is to accept failure and like to not, failures doesn't define you. And doesn't define everything you've done, and like trusting the wrong people or doing the wrong thing or not having the capacity to pursue that other thing. Like, you can consider all of these things failures, but actually you just learn from them. They're lessons.
Lessons. And as Sasha said before, you got to look at it as perspective. So it's not like I failed at this. It's like, oh no, I tried this, it didn't work. What can I learn from it?
Exactly.
What can I do differently?
Exactly.
So yeah,
exactly.
I like that idea.
And I guess this mindset of like failing forward is what Craft Forward, failing forward is what really like I wouldn't have learned if I hadn't started my own thing. Because in school you learn that you fail.
Yeah.
That's done.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not true. You fail, you move on.
Put that out there.
Yeah, because if you fail and then you stop, then what's the point? What do you do?
Yeah.
But you said something that I feel like a lot of people like they kind of resonate with them. You said you don't look at yourself as an entrepreneur, so it's like, do you feel like you have imposter syndrome? Because
Definitely.
but I just feel like I just feel like you're an amazing person. You've got an amazing business. You've got like the causes you stand for. I really like them. What makes you think that
Well, for once, I haven't studied business or nothing like that. And it's like I know that doesn't really count, but like I do have that thing like
But you can always go and still study it.
That is true. That is very true. But it's also like it comes down to personality. It comes down to I have depression. I have a generalized anxiety disorder. Like I have that voice in my head that keeps telling me like you're not good enough, you're not worth it. And like mental health struggles plays a big role in my experience as a human in general. It's like a lot in my work. I don't have a problem talking about it because everyone experiences this type of thing at some point.
About it more.
Exactly.
The conversation is actually getting bigger, so it's good.
Yeah, no, it is really good because otherwise there's this massive stigma. Like it's. I thank you for saying like how you think that I am successful at what I do. In my head, I keep telling me you're not enough. It's not enough. And like I guess this is what I struggle with for considering myself an entrepreneur. I know rationally that I am, and that I am working very hard for making this happen. But I guess it's all about also being kind to yourself and understanding yes, you do have that voice in your head that tells you you're an imposter, you shouldn't be here, like what are you doing? But actually, it's about sitting down, taking a deep breath, looking objectively at what you've done, of what you've achieved.
Because if you think about it, that's like, I would look at your story and I feel like that's quite inspirational. Like, you came from Italy, you've established yourself here, and you want to help people. So I would like looking at me like, wow, that's inspirational. But I guess also like, we all have that voice in the back of our head, but we just have to kind of like be like, you're not there, just shut up. But it's kind of hard. I understand what you feel, but I think you're an amazing person.
Oh, thank you.
And also it's the fear of the unknown. So you never know what's going to happen, and you know, you're more successful than you think you are, because you are. You're doing it. You're trying.
Really
you know?
Trying. I guess that's also the thing, and I guess I think it's changing with like newer generations. But like my generation is much like, you know, you study, you get a job in a company in an office, and you stay there like job security, right? And
the general route, that's the route we should all go down. We don't want to go down that route.
9 to 5.
Yeah, and I think luckily that is changing with younger people. You know how people say, oh, young people don't want to do anything. That is such a lie. Young people don't want to have the miserable life.
Yeah, we don't.
You had. You know?
Life is too short for us to be sitting in our office typing out. Like we want to be active. We want to be doing things. Like I feel like your job is very like it's not like theory. It's more like you're
practical.
Knitting. More practical. So it's kind of like and there's something behind something you love in it. So I feel like when you do something you love, you kind of like it hits differently because you're actually enjoying it. Whereas some people, they get a job and it's like, okay, this is for security. This is to make sure I get my pension. But I'm not really passionate about it. So like you don't really put in the same effort. And that's why I feel like it's good that it's changing, because I feel like they say that the younger generation like us, we're not afraid to take risks. I feel like we got to take risks more because we don't want to have like a terrible life, and then we're going to have like a lot of what ifs and regrets. Like that's not what life is about. Life is about experiencing, living your best life.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know about you, but I did see my parents struggling with their 9 to 5s, and I still see they're still working. They're old, and like, you know, I just don't want to compromise, and I just want to have a good life where I'm happy and satisfied with what I do.
Definitely. I think that's very important.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, very important, because I feel like sometimes people look at happiness and it's like, I mean, happiness is a pursuit. So you have to kind of make yourself happy, but I feel like I've got to a stage where my happiness isn't actually attached to anything. And I feel like that's a great place to be in.
It is.
But it's like also, you don't want to have things that you're doing just because you have to do it. Like you want to have things that you want to enjoy. So I feel like because like your business is really something that your grandma taught you and you actually like it, it's like it's a great like initiative, because it also helps with a lot of change, and you have to make changes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you.
There's one question I do want to ask. It's to do with Craft Forward. Can people like volunteer or like participate?
Yeah, definitely. So all of our workshops are open to anyone, beginners, experienced, any sort of level. And we do a variety of knitting, really. We do like more chunky knitting, we do finger knitting, we do quite a lot of different things, which is quite nice. And you can always come, they're always free. You book on our website, on Eventbrite. They sell out pretty quickly, which is good, because it means that we are more popular. We're trying to sort of expand across London more, so that because I was noticing that a lot of people were traveling from like Hackney, Enfield, and like, I love this, but also I want to come to you, so you don't have to come all the way to Brixton. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think you can like? Because I feel like I did enjoy it, but then obviously I got discouraged because I can't do it. But you think you can have patience to teach me? Like,
of course.
Are
you kidding me? Of course. Of course I'll have patience. And it's not only me. I have 2 amazing, talented facilitators that help me during some of the knitting sessions, and I'm expanding sort of also in terms of like volunteering or like getting started, maybe working with us. I'm always looking for like facilitators that are passionate about even doing different crafts and different things. And I have my amazing partner who helps me with photography and communications and videos and all that stuff, which is really good. So grateful for him. But of course I'll have the patience to teach you. And we have a 100% success rate for teaching people, and I'm not going to let that drop. So, you know, I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you.
That's good. I love that. Hey, and I love that for real. I love that for real. Have you got anything else you want to talk to?
Just like socials? Like where can we find you?
Where can you find me? You can find me everywhere. No, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok with craft. Ooh, what's it called? _forward. Craft _forward. You can find me on Twitter with that same name. You can find me on the internet with, if you type in craft forward, I don't know how, we're the first thing that comes up, which is great. Great SEO. And then also on LinkedIn, you can find me as Elena Lopresti, which is my surname, or craft forward, you'll see me appearing somewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
So it's been amazing talking to you.
It's been lovely talking to you guys.
It's been amazing talking to you. I love your like everything you do. And thank you for coming to the Lambeth Made podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks.